Hi, Doc.
How you doing?
Doing well. How about yourself?
Good, good. How's the troops?
Oh, everybody's doing great.
Everybody's marching in order.
Oh, yeah.
That's good. That's good. Is the weather nice today?
Oh, it's been beautiful. We reached up to about 55 degrees and
Oh, wow.
nothing right away, and it said we're supposed to be sunny all through the week with being in the 50s.
Very good.
Yeah, it's a very odd January.
So you don't have to hit the road. You don't have to hit the road if you don't have to, do you? If you don't want to.
No. Did a huge shopping order. Went up to Klamath Falls, Oregon the other day, did a bunch of shopping. I made a big purchase on meat for the month. Got
Very good.
62.7 pounds of export ribeye.
Oh, wow.
I butchered it up and put a whole bunch of steaks and everything else.
Very good. Was it a reasonable price, or was it a store that you know the butcher, or what is it?
So the butcher in town, I was able to talk to them and get their meat list, how they order the meat.
Yeah.
And so I ordered the export rib through them, so it's a full case, 62 pounds or 53 pounds.
Wow.
It's three racks. I think there's like 7 ribs in each rack, but it's about I got about 19 ribeye steaks out of each one so far,
Right.
and then like 4 pounds of toppings to turn into ground beef, and another 5 pounds of like strip meat that I made for like stir fry and stuff, and then a couple
How much did they cost you?
$674.
Okay, that's not bad. That's not bad. That's very
And mind you, it's ribeye too, so it's.
I'm saying it's very good.
And the thing was, I noticed on the butcher's list, you get the different grades of meat: prime, choice, select, and ungraded. I went on the ungraded list because it's not that it's bad or anything. It's from Canada.
Oh,
and
okay.
I looked into it, and I found out that Canada has more stringent requirements for their cattle going into butcher than the U.S. does. Like,
wow.
yeah, they have specific age limits that your cows have to be under, so it's not sold. So that almost guarantees a certain tenderness to every cut right there.
Right.
They have regulations on how they're finished and what they eat and all this. And people around say that the meat has a beefier flavor. So far, I mean, it's tender. It's oh my goodness.
Do you pay an import tax on that, Jonathan?
No, what I had to the butcher at the store just charged me it was about 16% more than what they paid. So they paid $570 and I paid them $674.
Oh, that's not bad. That's a good deal.
Yeah, here I'll show you.
That's a good deal. Wow. That's a biggie.
And it's not a bunch of fat. It's got a nice fat cap on it, but the marblings are just beautiful. And
your neighbors introduced you to that store?
Huh?
The neighbors introduced you to that store?
No. I made friends with the butcher over the years.
Okay.
When they would butcher their meat up, all the trimmings and everything they throw out in a garbage bag, and I was collecting it from them to feed to the animals and stuff.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, I made friends, and they even had it to where, like, when the meat, it wasn't bad or anything, it was just sitting on a shelf past their time they can leave it out. they'd put it in the back, and I'd go back, and they'd charge me only $5 a pound for whatever cut, whatever I wanted.
Wow.
It was T-bone.
Very good. You know, some places they won't eat the meat until it's aged. Right.
Yeah, right. Yeah, see, like those are cuttings. I got ribs. I kept some ribs. Other ribs, I completely cut it off. That's a loin.
Very nice.
Rib eye loin roast. It's like there's a top cap of meat, and you cut that off nicely, and then you roll it.
Uh-huh. So do you kill your own chickens?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lots of steak. I mean, lots and lots and lots.
Yeah. So that's one of your construction jobs by itself, right? Right.
Right. Talk about our own chickens. Here's one in the freezer right here.
Right. Very good, Jonathan. Very good.
Yep. But well, yeah. So we're holed in right now because this snow came. It's gonna melt, and it's 50 degrees temperature, Barry.
But you got all your heating stuff. You got all your heat in there, so you got all the windows in, and it's closed off, so you're in good shape.
Oh yeah. Yep.
Yeah.
That's how we have it, really. We got
Very
the wood
good.
stuff going and nice house, nice and warm. Oh yeah.
Very good. I'm happy for you.
How about your side? How's the weather and everything down there?
You see I'll be sitting in here with jackets and sweaters on. It's probably they said it was going to be 62, but it seems like it's 52. It's been down about 50 something at night. But when I went out this morning to dump the trash, it was, I had my earmuffs on and my skull cap and everything else. It was cold. Or maybe it's my age. I'm getting cold, but anyway, it was cold. But other than that, the sun is out. It's bright. It's supposed to be good for at least the next week or so.
There you go. Yeah, it's supposed to be the mid to high 50s, and that means it'll be in the 60s here. So I don't know.
Reverse, huh?
Springtime.
Yeah.
It's springtime, and there's only like a month and a half away from spring.
Yeah. So you prepared for you got all your diggings done and everything planted and waiting for the seeds to come up, or what?
Not yet. No, not yet. All last year. Well, it's like, last year, the baby being born in June just.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
June is a pinnacle month. June is a pinnacle month when it comes to growing.
Yeah.
So no. And then this year, there's a whole bunch of triptych and so I don't know. Last year, I focused on planting trees and other bush perennials. Food and shade and all that. So no crop. This year, I want to do some crops. I want to get the kind of April.
You didn't do any of your you didn't do any of your you didn't plant any trees, though, huh, Jonathan?
I did. I planted 3 plum trees.
Oh wow!
A pear tree and 2 more apple trees.
Very good. Very
and
good.
The 4 raspberries, a blueberry. The grapes didn't go through. And we found out we have lettuce regrowing in the greenhouse from patches we grew years ago. And they're
very good. Very good.
Pretty cool to see. Yeah. We brought a lemon tree in the house. The lemon tree won't grow outside, so we got a dwarf lemon tree to see if it'll grow inside.
It won't grow. It's too cold for it.
Oh, too cold for it. The coldest, there's one species of lemon tree or citrus, and it's an orange, I believe. And the coldest it'll survive is like 26 degrees.
Okay, okay. But well, that I know citrus grow California, and I thought it went through Oregon too, but maybe not.
Well, some of the sides of Oregon don't get cold like that. They're still like,
Oh, okay.
like when you guys' temps are like the coldest you'll see, the coldest you get really is 40s, low 50s. Yeah, it'll grow in that no problem.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
Yeah. But the blueberries should be great, and the apples should be great.
Yeah, the apples so far, we had two we put in last year and they came back. I mean the year before, and they came back last year. So we have two apple trees that'll be here, and the rest. Yeah, we do have a pair that we thought died. And
Sorry. Shelley's here. I got you breaking up. Let me get off the sound. Shelley, are you there?
Yes, good afternoon. I'm trying to get it together.
No, I was going to cut my sound off so you can hear Jonathan better than that, because I think that I might be the one that's causing it to break up. Anyway,
Okay.
I'm good.
No, I'm some last minute trying to pull it together because the therapist is here with Millie, so I can be on that piece.
Mhm. Yeah, it's good. You got everything taken care of. Everything went right through, huh?
Huh?
I said everything landed right through.
Oh, yes. Everything went well. Yes, it did. I'll just waiting on the paperwork now, you know. Once they send me all the paperwork and everything, I'll breathe at ease. You know, that's like having the document, not waiting on the check, but when the check comes,
Mhm.
Sound like Martin Luther King, free at last, free at last.
At least that the burden of being under scrutiny with all those folks and having a
They're not always nice, Shelley.
huh?
They're not always nice.
No. And and when you're dealing with the man and his law, you know what I'm saying? It's a burden because when you know the truth, then how we execute. So yeah, I feel a lot more free. But oh, look at that handsome. Oh man, he's getting big so fast.
Oh yeah. You're growing quick.
As they say, is he getting off the way for the next one? That's what they say.
Oh man, right? She was having a dream the other night of talking to somebody, and she's like, "Oh yeah, my 6 kids." Da, da, da. She woke up, she was like, "I don't have 6 kids."
It was a couple up here that had a thrift store, and I swear I went in there, and the lady reminded me of Deborah, Andre's ex-wife, right, Renard?
Right.
And come to find out, I was floored when they told me they had 13 children. And he still look like that for a white girl.
When Deborah was dropping them like dropping rocks. I mean, she had how many? Three, 4? Yeah, Deborah.
Yeah, but she started looking old really young too. I thought.
Did she?
And
Yeah.
and when we were in our 30s, she looked old to me.
She did?
No.
Okay. I haven't seen her in a long time.
Oh yeah, I saw her. Well, no, I haven't seen her in a long time as well. But if Susan's in the indication too.
Yes. Yeah. So Jonathan, how's your other babies doing? your outside troops.
Like, here's another baby.
No, not that. I'm talking about your teaching group, your lecturing group.
It, you know, is what it is. It's I got to get on a bunch of Christians last night, like early this, because it's you know, there's this habit that goes on with Christians where some atheist or agnostic is questioning them, and they don't like the answer that the Christian's given, so the Christian starts treating them like they're a demon that's just rejecting the Word of God and all this, and it's like, you have no right. No right. Take the stance of you're supposed to answer everyone with humility, fear, God,
right,
your conscience, and they could receive the same hope that you have in you. I said, if you're proclaiming to have hope in you, then you're supposed to be patient with those who are inquiring. I said, if the person ain't cussing you out and just berating you, but they're going through and trying to investigate the depths of your answer and your response, then you're supposed to show them that peace and that love. And yeah.
Well, what I was looking at this week concerning those things is when you look back in Yahshua or Yahweh made manifest, was that only that one man that came in and had the power to reconcile all things and save us all, you know. That and so, and I'm saying that to say that was just the one. So it don't take a whole crew, a gang of thousands of people, but if just those that truly understand who they are, if we execute within ourselves that love, that power, it's enough to permeate, you know, and cause things to happen. But we can't be one way and then speak another, you know. Everything you do, it's like you're putting your own self to the test. Like a lot of people would always give credit to Job, saying, "Oh, Job had the faith." Well, he was testing. He put himself to that test because he recognized who he was at some point. He knew that he was Yahweh. And when he said yea once, yea twice, when that question was asked to him, you know, all those things that he went through is because he said he loved Yahweh and he pushed it to the limit. You know, a whole family was taken away, wives, kingdom, everything, because he said he loved Yahweh. And when it was all said and done, he proved it to himself, you know, because he endured all those things and was able in the end to get all that back, you know. But it was because when the wife said to him, "Oh, why don't you just curse Yahweh and go on and die?" And he said, "Woman, you talk like a fool. You know, with all that was going on, you talk like a fool." But he endured, you know, every test that came, you know, that he stood in. He never wavered in his love of being and knowing who he was, which was Yahweh himself. And with us, that's where we have to be. we can't afford to waver and fall prey to that carnal way of thinking or expressing ourselves that way. You know, we have to just be strong in that. And when I say that, I mean it's like when we were at that what was it, the memorial yesterday, and listening to this guy saying, "Oh, you're sinners," and then at the end of the statement, he turns around and says how Jesus came and died for our sins. Well, why the hell did you start off with us being sinners if you knew all of that? You know? It's like you can't say one thing and do something else. We can't say we love one another and not be able to suffer a few things or endure a few things or catch our own self when we want to, get somebody told. I mean, we could be justly right, but sometimes you got to hold that. It's stronger. What I used to tell the kids, because I knew I was raising them to be men, I would say, when you get in a relationship, you get a wife or whatever, keep your hands to yourself, because it's much more powerful to walk away, than to execute any other kind of way, and even though I know, the world says, we used to say as kids, sticks and bricks can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. That couldn't have been so far from the truth, because it's the word that you can never sometimes get past, that pierce the soul, that will cause you to, it tears down the spirit and their self-esteem. You would rather, I would rather take a whooping than have my parents cursing me in a way that, as I got older, I could never forget that, and that's what's happened in the world a whole lot. And I learned just from being with Dad how he would say, now, I can't come in here and teach you and preach the gospel and then, beating the hell out of the wife and kids. He would make that type of statement, to us. And so, and to say that, it's like, yeah, you're right. I mean, because then that's not being true to what he's telling us. Keep your damn hands to yourself. Keep, be strong this way or that way. Watch what you say to one another, because you don't want to, he would say, you don't want to cause scars that you can't fix in each other, Right, Bernard?
Correct. Totally correct. Totally correct.
Chime in. And I just feel the need, because when I sense that there are times when we're all having so much trouble, then that's why, because somewhere along down the line we're falling, as they say, weak. You fall weak, or prey to, and it's easy to the world, but we have to be stronger than that.
Yes.
In our execution and loving one another, because there's nobody else to have our back but us.
Right.
And like Renard would say, you can act the ass out in public, but it's our duty, when we get with one another, to set it straight. I'm sorry, I got something caught in my throat, but yeah, I just, I was looking at those things were on my heart and mind this week, because I was hearing, as we spoke last week, about that class and the arrogance and wanting to say that you're the head but then you're acting like the ass, you know? They're saying, oh, it can't be a general assembly because we're not we're not there. But you over there holding a class and you're subduing the members, or trying to keep somebody in a, as they would say, way of thinking. We've been told you're free now. You are Yahweh. The vision and the revelation has been imparted to you. You are a partaker. Why would you want to rob someone from that? You know? Or because you haven't come to that understanding fully, then you want to keep somebody else from getting there. And that's not fair.
Right.
You know?
Right.
Because, yeah, we all know that we don't all grow, no, as I say, no blade of grass grows the same rapid as the other. You're going to always have, you know, some a little taller or a little stronger looking, or, you know, like that. But we know how we learn. We all sat there under the boss, and our understanding was at different levels.
Right. I noticed that the tapes I've been listening to lately, again, keep taking the covers off of who you are, who spoke to you. And one of the things he brought up this morning that I'd not heard before was that Moses and his minister was on the plateau getting ready to go up the mount, that Moses' brother, that the minister had sent when they were down below, had sent Moses' brother when he was in Egypt to speak to Moses, and he did, and he was the one that caused Moses to understand that the minister was Yahweh. But he said that when he was up on the plateau, it's not understand that he was Yahweh, but understand what was in store, what were they going to have to do. But the thing is that when he was on the plateau, he said that Moses didn't know who was standing next to him, which was
right.
Joshua. And the thing is that it showed that Joshua was not known throughout everybody in Egypt, but he was known once they started doing their pilgrimage from Egypt into the wilderness.
Right.
Because the Exodus, because they and they didn't know that until Moses went up on the mount. Everybody didn't know it then, he said, because they didn't see any mountains, they didn't see anything spiritually, they didn't see anything. They didn't see Yahweh speaking anything. They just didn't know. And what brought it all to bear was when they built the tabernacle and he came down. Then they began to know who it was that was with them.
Well, and then before Moses takes it off, he tells them, Yahweh's going to raise one up amongst you that liken unto me. And that's what he was talking about, Joshua.
Yes.
You know, that had been there.
He keeps taking the covers off, and we all must understand that we all are of the self same spirit. Mm-hmm. You know, we must understand that.
Right.
And without that knowledge, it's not you're not going to be able to be at peace with yourself nor with your neighbor.
Right. Which is why we want to be mindful how we address one another too.
Right.
You know, that was a stickler for that. You know, even though, like I said, there was sometimes you might feel justified when you was dealing with them people like Donald Berenger.
Oh, yeah.
You know, but that was the main time to hold your peace, you know.
The hard part is that, you hear him say the words that are true, but it's no realness with him.
Right.
I mean, if it was, he wouldn't say what he said.
Mhm.
I said, brother.
Like Dad would say, those down at 1040 was so quick to call him, a devil. And then if if you got the power to call me that, why can't I be a son of Yahweh?
Gary Cooper.
Right.
It's just as
Right.
easy, even more. You know what I'm saying? But when you allow that envy and strife and all of that to enter in, then you're setting yourself up for a candidate for a satanic spirit, because they can't execute no power unless you give over your body, and you don't have a body to give over to, because Yahweh bought you and paid the price.
That's right. I think that's one reason why Glenn is in these lectures that I'm listening to. He keeps saying Yahweh is not going to come to darkness, and if you full of darkness, He's not coming there.
Right.
You have to start paying attention and listening and understanding that you are Yahweh first
Right.
of all.
Right.
You have to look at the behavior of Yahweh to understand how you're supposed to be.
Exactly. Exactly.
And if you don't know that, you'll always be fighting confusion with how you do this, how you do that, and what do you say, and that's what a lot of schools are always teaching devil. That's because they simply don't understand. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
They're afraid of this, afraid of that.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and you have to be the same way he is. He's saying he was never worried about somebody harming him. Yahweh
Right.
didn't put him in that position to be harmed by another man. That's right.
Right.
Same goes for you and us. Everybody's saying, he said, once you start holding fast to the gospel of Yahweh gives us, all that other stuff is not part of your makeup. It's not going to come there.
Exactly.
It's not going to enter.
I mean, there are times when you can,
Right.
just like with your natural parents, there are times when we can look within ourselves or do something, and we know that we are being at that point just as we knew Yahweh to be in that body that taught us. You know.
Yes. Yes.
Like when I looked at you yesterday, Bernard, it was just like that was the old man, like right in that moment, that expression, how you would look at all your kids and be able to see yourself or their mom,
Right.
in them.
Yes, yes.
And we can see that with one another, Yeah.
I explained to them, I said, your mother and I were at peace with each other. But the thing is this, I asked her, what did you do, or what did you say to call Yahweh to put you in this position? And I said, have you asked him for forgiveness and asked him to help you? She said, yes. And I explained to them, I said, I was not trying to condemn her or anything else, but she walked the same miles I did, and I want to understand, what did you say? Did you tell your new husband something that was not true? Or did you reject the words of Yahweh? Or what happened that caused you to get in that box?
Well,
the same way I was talking.
Sometimes when we look, being many, and we could look at a different angle, but what I saw was how that those children being raised from the womb up manifested those attributes of Yahweh when they took care of their mom like she took care of them. I mean, it was no mistaking that, and Yahweh allows those type of manifestations to happen that we might see, even though, they weren't teaching or saying Yahweh, those attributes was more powerful than those in the world, or in class. Because how many kids in class, I can say would have taken care of their parents like that. None, not many. I mean, a few. But I mean, I'm witnessing it as of now. You still got children that won't even take their mom to lunch, won't even buy a card for Mother's Day. You know, how is that when you was raised from the womb up, that you not have that love in you for your parents? You know?
Yeah.
That you would say or talk to them any old kind of way. I didn't see that with your children. What I saw was Yahweh himself manifesting how children should be if their parents should become in need, you know?
Right. Right.
I mean, if you needed a ticket or you needed anything to go, they're all right there to help you. And they may not like the way Joy do things sometimes, but they're all there for her, you know?
Right.
And that's what I look at, those those type attributes. Whereas, I looked at how even with Art. Now he had a problem with the way he thought Dad treated Loopy, but then I saw the way he treated Joan. That was Yahweh making manifest. This is how a man is to be with his woman. The man, the first time he went to her house, he never left. You know, when he had that surgery, he went and found a place for her to be, and let them know that once he was out of the hospital, he was coming back for his wife. And I mean, he lived to serve her. She was at one time bedridden when they were in Florida that time, and he stayed by her side the whole, was there to get her clothes out from the, jewelry, and, even here he would bring her to class, though he didn't stay.
Yeah.
He made sure she got there.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's kind of, it's like those words did not return unto our father Boyd. When he taught all of those principles of what he taught, he made sure there was somebody able to manifest those. Like I look at Jamal, whatever his problem was with Dad, he raised them girls like Dad would have raised his daughters. You know what I mean? And they were obedient and loved their father to the he demise. But we and I'm saying we have examples, of how of those things that he taught us, how to be to one another. You look at, but I see it. I don't, like I said, everything he taught us, I've seen it manifest amongst the ones that he taught.
Yes.
And it's I mean, it's heartfelt with me when I see those principles, manifested now, with the eyes of Yahweh, how we execute with one another,
Yeah.
And I mean, and Denise said Yahweh had to prepare her to be able to endure that.
Right.
You had to. She wasn't mean or evil to her kids. She was willing for them to help her do, and they was able to do it. Because you have some folks. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Doc.
She was very grateful of what they were doing. Although she couldn't do anything about it, but she was very grateful and very happy.
Yeah, I mean, and you gotta have Yahweh has to put a disposition in you to be that way, because even Dad, he was like that last day when he was able to, they got him in the shower, he was just happy and grateful to feel the water, rolling on him, and somebody that cared enough to do it, because we never want to get in a position where we can't do for ourselves. None of us are like that, know. But if whatever his will is to show or manifest what he needs us to see, he'll do it. You know, uh, like I look at with Celesta when she got sick. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
I was going to say, I think that the girls recognize what he had done and who he was in his latter years.
Right. Mm.
So how are you, Miss Retar?
Oh, I'm doing all right. I'm here.
Good.
I can't get warm.
Oh, well, welcome to my world.
I'm telling you, it is just to the bone, type chilling. Anyway.
I got on 2 velour shirts that go down to my knees, a long dress, and some boots, and a hat. And I am cold. My hands feel like little icebergs, like I've been digging in the freezer.
My only one of mine, and that's the one that I keep exercising it and trying to get it to go back to normal, but it won't right now. But I'm talking to it and saying, you need to get back to normal. You have things to do.
No. Say, God might think that's normal now.
Brother Cooper, do you have the blanket over our trees?
Oh, no. You have any blankets over the trees?
Gary.
Anyway.
Gary must have went to the potty.
What's it like up your way, Jonathan? How cold is it?
We got up to 55 today.
Ooh. Oh, well, we have to.
That's really warm for today.
Well, we got 2 degrees on you. It's 57.
Oh, look at that.
Oh, my God, I tell you. Give me 3 more degrees and it's a bikini and a fur. A bikini and a fur coat. Boy, I tell you, we're ready. Oh, gosh. And Bernard can tell you that's true. But
That's right.
Oh. Hey.
I used to slip down and read his driveway just from the ice on the ground.
Oh, yes, he did. Oh, my God. He did. I tell everybody, don't do it because you got to be careful because this water freezes real quick.
Yeah.
I don't think last night, I think we were. Go ahead.
No, I was
Bernard, I
going
wanted
to
to
say
thank
all
you
last week my bird feeder. Oh.
What happened to your bird feeder? Shelly?
It was ice. It was frozen.
Oh.
It's frozen every morning. Yes. Ice. It turns out ice. It's been the bird bath is what it is. Yeah. It's in the water, and I think whatever water is left in the water hose, it freezes too.
Yeah.
The plastic becomes so hard, but yeah. Look, we'll be glad to see spring.
It's pretty much already here for us. This time of the year, we're usually hitting mid-20 degrees. Like, that was what the first 3 years was like. Last year, we were in, like, the 40s and 50s in the beginning of January. This time period is the coldest time of the year. We're usually in negative temperatures at night. Down, like, negative 10. And we're only getting to, like, 19, I think, was the coldest so far last couple of weeks.
Wow.
Yeah, I think January for us, too, has been, like, the coldest month.
Yep.
But we're experiencing the temperatures and the type of weather we usually have in March, early April.
That's unusual because we're usually 25, 21. I think, according to this here, we're supposed to be 25 tonight.
Oh, wow.
Well, well,
That's cool.
two
But
little,
no
two
snow.
little prints inside. Yeah, I left them out again, but I think I'll drag them inside tonight.
Oh.
Yeah. You know, when I used to travel back east in the wintertime, when the weatherman say, we expect snow flurries in 2 days, and somebody says, Renard, where you rushing to? I'm going to get my ticket. Getting out of here. Getting out of here.
Oh,
Anyway.
boy.
I'd be all right if I just had one of those wooden fireplaces.
I have that.
Yeah, nice wood
Yeah.
stove. Yeah.
Yeah, but you got to go get wood, though. That's the problem. You got to go get
I
wood.
got a plenty of wood.
You got plenty of wood?
Yeah, stored back there. I won't get rid of it because I'm hoping one day I can get somebody to brick that fireplace. You know, put a thing around it and where it can be. You know, give some heat.
Wow.
Your neighbors
Probably because my apartment is all electric, and they gave me a $550 electric bill. I said, "Oh no, we can't have this. Gotta get rid of this."
Well, you know, my daughter is complaining because she said that two of them bought the solar stuff, right? And so Renee said that they had nerve enough to tell her that she's got to pay for the solar, pay for the fact that I don't know what it is about the solar, but then she gets 3 different bills, including one from Edison, and I'm like, what the hell's that about? I thought solar was supposed to eliminate all of this kind of nonsense, you know?
No, now they're making people who have solar pay taxes, and they bill you at the end of the year, and then and then they want to tell you when they're billing, you have to make sure whoever installed your solar that they come out and check to make sure that everything's working okay. I mean, really, you know, it's always some drama.
Double taxation.
Yeah, yeah, it is. For something that's supposed to be free anyway.
Okay, Jonathan, do we have a scripture for today? Oh God! Hear me.
I heard you.
You got one, Shelley?
I heard you, and I started racking the mind, and I mean the first one came with 1 Peter 3, but that was the first thing in my mind.
First what?
1 Peter 3.
Didn't hear you.
1 Peter 3.
79, huh? Okay.
That's little 3.
Oh, we're doing James, Peter, and John, huh? James, Peter. Come on, Peter. Here we are. Number 3. Anyway, I wanted to thank you and Shelley Renard for yesterday. It was wonderful when they finally got their act together, but anyway, that was okay. It was supposed to be, I guess, like that. But my daughter would have been very upset if she'd have been there, because she's one of those detail ones. You got to do things on right. But she wasn't there, so it turned out nice, Renard. Did you make it home with no problem? You're muted, Renard. You're muted, Renard.
I got home I told Rita that I would be home before sunset. The sun was going over the mountain. I was coming out of Azusa. Sun going on the other side of the hill into the ocean. Brother. But I got home before it was dark.
That was good. That's a good thing. Anyway. Okay, 1 Peter 3. Likewise, ye wives, be in subjection to your own husbands, that if any obey not the word, they also may without the word be won by the conversation of the wives, while they behold your chaste conversation coupled with fear, whose adorning, let it not be that outward adorning of plaiting the hair or wearing of gold or putting on the apparel, but let it be the hidden man of
And
the
who's,
heart.
Bernard wants to, okay, mute. Okay, because it was static.
Okay, but let it be the hidden man of the heart, and that which is not corruptible, even the ornament of a meek and quiet spirit, which is in the sight of Yahweh of great price. For after this manner, in the old time, the holy women also who trusted in Yahweh adorned themselves, being in subjugation unto their own husbands, even as Sarah obeyed Abraham, calling him Lord, whose daughters ye are, as long as ye do well, and are not afraid of any amazement. Likewise, ye husbands, dwell with them according to knowledge, giving honor unto the wife as unto the weaker vessel, and as being heirs together of the grace of life, that your prayers be not hindered. Finally, be ye all of one mind, having compassions one of another, love as brethren, be pitiful, be courteous, not rendering evil for evil or railing for railing, but
Have a TV on?
me?
Okay, is interrupting you.
Not mine. You think so? That must be the kids in it. You guys turn the TV down. Anyway.
Okay.
Not mine. Anyway. For he that will love life and see good days, let him refrain his tongue from evil and his lips that they speak no guile. Let him eschew evil and do good. Let him seek peace and ensue it. For the eyes of Yahweh are over the righteous, and his ears are open unto their prayers. But the face of Yahweh is against them that do evil. And who is he that will harm you, if ye be followers of that which is good? But if ye suffer for righteous' sake, happy are ye, and be not afraid of their terror, neither be troubled, but sanctify in Yahweh Elohim, sanctify the Yahweh Elohim in your heart, and be ready always to give an answer to every man that asks you a reason of the hope that is in you with meekness and fear, having good conscience, that whereas they speak evil of you as of evildoers, they may be ashamed that falsely accuse your good conversation in Yahweh. For it is better if the will of Yahweh be so, that ye suffer for well-doing than from evil-doing. For Yahshua the Messiah also hath once suffered for sins, for the just for the unjust, that he might bring us to Yahweh, being put to death in the flesh, but quickened by the Spirit. But which also he went and preached unto the spirits in prison, which sometimes were disobedient, when once the long suffering of Yahweh waited in the days of Noah, while the ark was a preparing, wherein few, that is, 8 souls were saved by water. like the figure whereunto even baptism doth also now save us, not the putting away of the filth of the flesh, but the answer of the good conscience towards Yahweh, but the resurrection of Yahshua the Messiah, who is gone into heaven and is on the right hand of Yahweh, angels and authorities and powers being made subject unto him. 1 Peter 3.
All right, let's go.
Okay, you're yelling at me.
Hallelujah.
Joey's apologizing for yelling.
Hallelujah.
For yelling. She said sorry.
Mhm.
That's it. The floor is open. Thank you.
Mhm.
Well,
Look,
that's interesting.
I think that's kind of what I was saying earlier.
Yep.
Yeah, that's right. People are always saying ugly stuff, and you know. So,
Yeah, we have to.
I don't think we understood Mr. who was associate principal, associate minister yesterday, talking about we are all sinners, and had people to pray on the sinner thing, you know. Well, we didn't.
Right.
And I told
You know,
people afterwards that they weren't sinners. Not in this age. But anyway.
right. You know, I guess I'm one of those ones that I more or less focus on those of us that
Right.
try that we're Yahweh. You know,
Right.
because the world, I much from him. You know, but those that warfare, it's like sometimes when you know that you hear that thought or you want to say something that's negative, you got to fight against that within yourself. You know, you got to preach righteous rather than allowing those statements to come forth from you. You know, and that's where the power is when you can reconcile right within yourself before you let those things escape. You know?
But can I say something for a minute?
Yes.
I'm going to say that, I've been using this term forever since I come to class. Spirit, and in Christianity, I was Catholic for 10 years. My mom raised us Catholic. And then I went to the Church of God. Now, in these ecumenical circles, sin was used to bind people, to control people. Now, it's like a pimp taking a woman who's been abused. And I'm likening to that iniquity chart that I saw. And I don't know if it's the wrong chart, whether it shouldn't even been in circulation. But you have to look at say just from a natural standpoint, a man who physically beats his wife down, whether by words or physical, or by both, until she feels like she is nothing. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, some men get beat up, but it's not widely shared. Who wants to tell another dude, yeah, man, my wife kicked my butt all the time? But saying that spiritually, you're looking at people are falling under this condemnation of, and you're looking at 1 John that I think say if you have no sin, I have it. You might know it. Then if you say you don't sin, you're a liar. Well, they don't have that understanding, and I say they is because Yahweh's not allowing them to have that understanding that there is no sin in this age. So they need that qualification of sin to drive them to works. So that if they do works and they don't sin, they say they're worthy and they're going to heaven. So that's even in the IDMR. You talking about you haven't sinned. And even with all the evidence that's been presented, like in a courtroom, twisted justice or satanic iniquity makes them feel like, yeah, I am a sinner. I did this yesterday. I said that. I had this thought. And it's hard for them to see that I'm Yahweh. I ain't got no sin. Ain't no sin in me. So they hang on to that deception, that lie, that I'm a sinner. I got to do some work so I won't sin. So it's hard for them to come from under that, even though you say, you can't sin in this age. They look at you like, are you crazy? We all sin. No, I don't. So it's hard to bring somebody from that train of thought, from whatever religion you come from, because it's all that satanic spirit in that physical body preaches sin because they don't know the age they're in. See? And I used to hear people say, Dr. Kinney used to say this, that Yahweh hadn't showed Satan his purpose. So he don't know. That's why he's trying to be like Yahweh. See? So that's what I wanted to say.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that. I guess for an example, I would use, like, say if I felt somebody was unfair to me about something, my first concern is I don't want to allow anything to creep in me to negative to combat that. But there's nothing wrong with looking at something and knowing, well, that's not right, but I'm not going there. I'm not going to, you don't want to take on any negativity. So you're constantly telling yourself when certain things prop up, or you're on the road and somebody's, being an ass, and you know what, Yahweh, bless everybody, making sure they make it to their destination, safe, and to those that are waiting to embrace them in love. You come up with an affirmation because you can't think evil and righteous at the same time. So it's better to create that which is righteous within your thought to remove what is negative. Because if you get that feeling of anger, then right in that same moment is that negativity is waiting, to feed off of that,
Well, Yahweh said, be angry and sin not. I don't know this. Since I'm learning so much now, sometimes some things in the Bible, like turn the other cheek, I ain't with that. Sorry,
no,
I'm not.
Right.
I ain't with that. Somebody hurt somebody I love, my grandchildren, wrath is coming out. And that's going to be part of an emotion for justice to protect somebody I love. The same thing, yeah, you can be angry, but I agree with you. Somebody cuts you off, and you say, that motherfucker, you our friend, cut me off, goddamn you. And you said, and I heard something Jonathan said that really made sense for me. But I'm using that expression, so don't condemn me, that you're Yahweh in the body. So you already know what you're not going to do, because that's not who you are. You know what I'm saying? So the thought's going to come. Joshua was tempted by Satan. He didn't stop, and Yahweh created that bad boy.
Right.
Jump off the rock. The angel's going to bear you up. And that's who we are now in this age. We're Yahweh in the body. And ain't going to stop them thoughts from coming, because sometimes I have some crazy thoughts. I just say, Yahweh rebuked you. I ain't doing that. That ain't who I am, buddy. I'm the one who created you. So it's how everybody handles it differently, But I'm just saying to tell somebody, the pastor said, I'm a sinner. I got to get saved.
No, yeah. and right, I don't mean it like that, but sometimes you can say, like you on the road, somebody said, well, sometimes we're not even aware of what somebody else might be going through. Like,
right,
exactly. Well, they in a hurry. No, why? They could be rushing to get to somebody that they love or doing whatever. And so you want to make sure, like you just benefit of the doubt in a lot of cases. Because there have been times I know I'm driving on the road, and I tell you, I've been translated, like gone in a quick moment, and then you hear somebody's horn blow away. Oh, okay, I'm cool,
Right.
Or yeah, easy to forgive, because I know when I go into LA, the traffic is crazy, so I make sure I have all of my respect and decorum with me. If I want to get in a lane, I don't just cut somebody off. I will look back to acknowledge them and say thank you. You know, because I know the disposition of where I am, the people, how they are, what they used to, you know, but a lot of times if you just turn and acknowledge and ask somebody if you could get over and they say okay and you say thank, you don't know what that one simple kindness how it can develop to help somebody else.
Right,
you know?
and I do that in traffic too. Somebody let me over, I wave at them just to thank them.
Right, or even somebody like you're in the line and people kind of, you know what, it's okay, come on. You know, I can let 2 or 3 cars over, but then, all right now, you know.
That's enough.
and you know, what's just, but don't always be the one to run up behind the other person to keep somebody else from getting over, you know. How else are we going to all get to where we need to go if we don't allow somebody, because if I allow this one to get in, somebody else behind me can allow the next one to come in, you know. And I mean, and that's just being fair on the road. And we all know when you being a driver in a car is a grand responsibility, because them souls out there don't belong to you, and per se, you know, as a personality, that's Yahweh too, you know. So you don't want to be responsible to cause, you know, somebody's death or to them to even be harmed in a way where it be life suffering, you know, lose a limb or arm or something like that. I mean, because you weren't as you should be, even though Yahweh gonna take care of you, that's a burden you just don't want.
Exactly.
You know? You know.
I agree.
But and I mean, we're using that for an example, but you know, like I used to always say, you know, with my kids, you know, I wouldn't say stupid. You're being no. Stop acting stupid. Why are you doing that? You know, you have to frame, you know, how you say a thing. You know, because you don't want to tear down that spirit. You don't want to damage somebody's self-esteem. You want them. If you call me a B all the time, how am I going to reconcile that with being Yahweh?
Exactly.
You know, I mean, it's far better. So, you know, yeah, we can do some stuff to get on each other's nerves, but sometimes we have to bite down and, you know, say, hey, you know, just let it pass, let it ride, because you don't never want that to be your last word to somebody.
Exactly.
You don't know when Yahweh going to take them out. And if that, even though we know we ain't leaving here till it's our time, I want to be able to say whatever my last words to you was something I can live with.
Exactly.
You know?
And don't have any regrets about what you're saying,
in a loving way. You know what I mean?
Exactly.
To one another. Because, I mean, when I hang up, I want to be able, I used to tell the boys, before you leave for school in the morning, you know, you better make sure you give your mother a kiss and a hug, right? So every day they would leave, they would I'd be in the bed and because I'd get in late and all right, Mom, I'm leaving. A kiss on the cheek. Oh, your coffee's ready. Okay, and but I did that more or less for them, because if Yahweh was to take me out to, you know, and that was my last time, at least they could say their last words to their mom was, I love you. You know what I mean? So we kind of want to think like that with each other. You know, whatever our last words, you want them to be loving and caring, you know.
So you want no regrets when you lay your head on the pillow at night that you did something right. You could have had a better outcome for it. Yeah.
Right.
That's true.
You know, and even if you don't say something nice, sometimes we don't want to say nothing at all. If you can't say something nice, because then you know you was at peace and quiet with whatever it was.
Right.
But, I mean, it was just, we just being who we are. And in this cycle of the purpose of Yahweh, you just want to be cautious to yourself in one another, you know, that you can take whatever you dish out Kind of hard to say, but sometimes, hey, you find yourself in a position like that, and we want to be mindful. I look at these classes, and when we would go to class, and when you leave there, you want to take with you something that you've learned of value according to Yahweh's divine purpose and plan. Just like if they call on you to speak, whatever you said, you want to be able to say something that will leave a glorifying impression on someone.
Right.
Oh.
You only got one chance.
Yeah, because we only hear once. At least I know when I leave here, I don't want to be an angel to deliver a message. That's a done deal for me.
Copy that.
Someone was detected at your front ring doorbell east.
I look at the founder and look at Glenn, and when I say I want to be like them, I meant what I'm talking about is that they really walk through fear no evil. I mean, it wasn't part of them, and that you got to understand that evil will only creep in when ignorance is abound. If you pay attention to what Yahweh have given us and all the things that Glenn went through and the founder, they never took advantage of nobody. I mean, they didn't have to. They knew where they were standing, and that's what I admire. When you have one with Yahweh, you know where you're standing. You don't care what they say. So the guy says, "Oh, California is going to fall into the ocean." Hey, if Yahweh desire for me to be part of that, I can't do nothing about that. Right. But where I stand, I'm at peace. So when the rocks fall, I'm at peace. That's all I can tell you. And I think that with that behavior, it caused other people to observe, and at the same time, hopefully you can have a moment to talk to them about something of the gospel that would cause them to put on the self-same manner. Because you can't win them by beating them up. That's why I told you, when I talk to a person and I can see that their fist is rolling up, I know that I'm not worried about me, but they're not going to hear nothing I got to say. They got a whole brain full of stuff that they want to tell me. But if they say, yeah, well, explain that to me, I want to do that. I want to do exactly that. I had that situation yesterday with Rita's son-in-law. I mean, I could understand his pain. I can't feel it, but I can understand it by what he said. And the thing is this, is that I explained to him, I said, you times are going to be okay. You just have to get prepared to be okay, be fine, be find happiness. Although they're talking to you about it now, it's not the day and the time for me to mention that, but I want you to know that. And you see, when I first went up to him, he looked at me like he didn't know who I was. He turned around and said, like who are you? I said, I'm Renard. Oh yes, you're the one that married me. And see, the thing, it was so long ago, I had forgotten that I'd married him, Rita. Forgotten.
My backyard.
Yeah, that's exactly what he told me. Exactly what he told me. Exactly what he told me.
In my backyard, 40-some years. No, 10 for that, 30-some years ago.
Yeah, that's a long time. But I just wanted him to yesterday, with the people that were there, he would not find happiness within himself. And know that, because too many people were patting him on the back and patting him. They didn't recognize they're patting him down into the dirt. But I wanted to lift him up and have him understand that, everybody prayed to go to heaven. But when they go to heaven, everybody else crying. For what? Where they're supposed to go. Be satisfied. That's easy to say and probably hard for them to do. Yeah. It's very difficult. I'm sorry.
No, I was going to say, that sounded like a few weeks ago, I was in Walmart, and the cashier, we were talking, and she ended up telling me that she had cancer, and she was still working and wasn't that long. I said, well, and then she said, but it kind of like it's okay. And I said, yeah. I said, because we all want to go to heaven, but don't nobody want to die. But how else are you going to get there? And she looked at me and kind of laughed. But I said that, thought for her, even though I know, even us, I mean, spiritually so, and you can be translated, or you have to die to whatever you thought, anything negative or physical, to be able to enter into that realm as we speak right now. You can't take nothing physical there. When you're in that state, it's all about Yahweh himself.
Yeah, our fight is at least not our fight. Our goals and objective in this body is to have as many as possible understand who they are.
Mm-hmm. That's right.
Do that. If they can do that, your job is done.
Right.
The hardest job. Your job is done. I have a brother that's probably about 9 years younger than me, and he maybe 10, and he died. He said he's died on the operating table at least 2 or 3 times, and he kept cursing him out. Why did you wake me up? Why did you wake me up? Right. So I said, some people want to get out of here now, and some want to wait later on. But if you can explain to them who they are, they won't ask you any questions anymore. That's the hardest part, even for the people sitting in class. It just got all kind of reasons to think that they're important and they're special and all that other stuff. And I remember the founder on one of those pilgrimage when they were in the Vatican, trying to see the Pope, and the founder said they desire to harm you. If they attempt to harm you, I'll bring the curtain down. Well, most people can't fathom what that means. They can't fathom what that means. That means that this what you're looking at will come to an end right there before you. And hopefully that you don't get to see it, that you be gone. But they just don't fathom that. When that little man was saying those prayers and all that other stuff, and he didn't know nothing about what he was talking about. Nothing what he was talking about. The way he spoke, I could tell you.
He certainly did.
He didn't understand nothing. But they would tell you how long they went to church and how often they did this and how often they did that. It's not about the church.
Nope. He didn't know a thing.
What Yahweh is allowing to be written in you. And remember, he's not going to come where nastiness abound. And you can forget that. You can forget it, talk till you're blue in the face. He's not going to let that happen, because that means that he have to come down to their level. And he's not going to do that. You will come up to his level. Yeah. But that's what I witnessed about Glenn and the founder. They moved about without any word, without any wrestle. They may have had, some slight concerns about certain things. That's why the Messiah said, Father, forsake them, for they know not what they do. That was a concern for you, not for him. Right. Yeah. That was a concern. And sin, I used to tease my wife about it, Gary. My wife was in a Catholic church like most Filipinos, and they would say, Lamb of God that took away the sins of the world, have mercy on me. And then the next time they say, oh, that's sinful, or I got sin. How do you get it? You just got through saying he took it away.
Right. Yeah.
Right. But they don't recognize what they're saying, because the Catholic Church, anyway, you sing the song and you think everything is great. And then you don't know you wind up building your own cross.
Right.
Yeah, I know not Yahweh give me the understanding that I have now, that who I am. I'd have been stuck in that same circle about fighting with sin, knowing that you couldn't keep the 613 laws that was given from Mount Sinai. Couldn't even keep the 10. But somewhere I've still been in that loop, so I praise Yahweh for turning on himself in his vessel that he created so I can finally understand the truth. He said, I'll watch for his peace and I'll slow and speak the truth. Like when you're stuck in a level of somebody telling you ain't crap, you ain't nothing, whether it's a man, a woman, or a child, you begin to believe that. They call that in psychological terms Stockholm syndrome, where the captive, like, remember Patty Hearst, I know most of you do, how she began to take allegiance with her captors. Same thing as a person who has Munchausen syndrome, where they harm the child so much because they themselves want the attention. But when you keep saying you're a sinner and you want to go out now and do works, that loop is almost like heroin. It's hard to break unless Yahweh lights himself up in that body, say, I'm Yahweh, and so are you. And you really understand that, then that understanding comes. But even that, I really didn't see the correlation until probably the last 7 years, and looking at the dispensation chart, that Yahweh said is finished. Finished means fulfilled, to bring to an end, to complete. How come he's still saying you sinned when he died for that? You called him a liar. It's almost like blasphemy, but they don't know that, so they can't be held to it because they're already stuck in the lie. See? So anyway, yeah, I'm grateful that I am where I am now, because it is hell being stuck under deception of Christianity, and a lot of the verses were used to control the masses of people. Some of them in there don't even belong in that Bible, but that's another subject.
And sometimes people in class haven't been taught. They think they can work up them or be so righteous that they've earned. No, it's by the grace of Yahweh that we all saved, that we are who we are.
Exactly.
I don't care if you come to class every time till the curtain come down and be there on time. Yahweh don't owe you nothing.
Exactly.
It's by the grace of Yahweh that you receive from him, whatever you receive.
Right.
You can't say he owes you anything because you came to class. You should be just continuously grateful that he even allowed you to come in.
Right.
Dr. Kennedy said, the story Dr. Kennedy said that he walked down class, I don't know if it was L.A. or not, and told somebody that he'll eat their cake and send them to the lake too. Sitting right there in class, he'll walk down the aisle. Stories I've heard.
First day in there?
What?
Sorry.
Okay, what was that again, Gary?
I was told stories, I've heard it repeatedly, that, I came in class in 1990, but before then, that Dr. Kennedy had, I don't know, it was in L.A., someplace in class, somebody offered him a cake, and he said, I'm going to eat your cake, and I'll still send you to the lake. He said, I'll send some of you right to the lake, in class. So, and the person who walked by her get an understanding before you will. Paraphrasing. You guys been around longer than I have, so don't know if you heard that or not. Repeat it.
Jonathan, are you with us?
Yeah, I'm sitting right here listening.
Okay, mister, what happened this morning in your class?
Well, how to put it? What's his name? Oh, come on. Gabriel. Well, the other evening, it was a testimony night, and Gabriel got into class late, but he got up on the floor and he gave testimony. He was the last one to give testimony that night. But his whole testimony was that he was going through it in himself, and he was having negative thoughts and didn't want to go to class, and from the things he was saying, it's things going on behind the scenes in class. And he was at the position where he was like, well, if you ain't got nothing good to say to somebody and whatnot, you know, why even be around it? You know, if I'm going to have a negative mindset, why even be around it? And he had asked if his son if he wanted to go, and his son wanted to go, so he asked his mom, Laura and Danny, if they'd take him, and they said, nope, we ain't taking him. And, you know, he was like, an adversary try to tell me, oh, don't you love Yahweh? Don't you want him to love Yahweh? And it's like, no, you're the dad. You need to be taking him. And he, through tears and all, was like, look, man, this is something else. He goes, look, we ain't talking about no physical vision. He goes, this is the vision revelation. When you can see that you are Yahweh and that everyone around you is Yahweh, that is the vision of revelation.
Right.
He goes, I'm not gonna lie to you. I ain't doing. We can't be, you know. And it's like he said, because really it's like if I got some disagreements in this body, in this group of 11, 12 people, and I can't get along with you, and yet I'm talking about more people coming to class, that's foolish. He goes, we've had the rooms filled. He goes, back when Papa was around, we've had the rooms filled. We've had the rooms filled after that. He goes, and here people can't get along with little group of people of each other. He goes, but then we're talking about how we're supposed to have everybody in the world be coming to us, and we can't get along? He goes, no. You know, he goes, I ain't, you know, be a greater example than that. I don't care if I disagree with you or whatnot. I have the vision revelation. I know who you are, and I'm gonna love you like who you are. Yeah, he got up on the floor and he hit a note. That's for sure. And so I've seen it resonate. I've seen it. When each time I've seen someone get on the floor and really lay it out like that, I'm really just sitting back and seeing where people are going to walk with it. Unfortunately, some people seem to be doubling down and some crazy stuff started coming out their mouth, but others, it's emboldening the rest to speak up about it. And I noticed that people seem to have not been speaking up all this time because they didn't want to ruffle feathers because of how the inner disputes caused Pasadena to split apart so many times all through the years and all that. So people got a bit complacent when it came to things that needed to be brought forth, and they didn't mention them. So bitter roots were able to, you know, take hold. And yeah, but I see that the more people get up on the floor and are putting the heart about what you really have and what you really received, what we received, that it's emboldening others who share that same sentiment to get on the floor and touch the same subjects, you know.
Well, that's good because we have to all stand on our own. You can't go in on somebody else's coattail. That's part of recognizing being Yahweh and standing in that. Like I said about Job earlier. You can't, because you may not see and understand, I can't falter. I shall have to stand. That was what the old man did for us, Dr. Glenn Kinley. He stood in that. Regardless of what you may have thought or misunderstood, he was Yahweh himself all the time.
And he would always say, I'm going to go back to the reality, what he said. Every tub has to stand on its own bottom. That was what he used to say to us when I first came in the class, and that was every stub has to stand on its own bottom.
Right. And Gabriel was right. I mean, well, it's easy to see how people are get despondent, but the thing is it's always been some crap going on. Yahweh just hid it from you until you were strong enough to be able to withstand being there for the divine purpose and not being swayed by that which was not no part of you, of Yahweh. You know, I mean, in a class, always something. Somebody, it was always somebody not getting along or somebody misunderstanding something. Always. But if you didn't know that, your focus was truly on learning the doctrine to help you find and know Yahweh as you really are and actually exist. Now, once you come to that, then your eyes are open to the stuff that shouldn't be. Are you swayed by that? No. But if you can help somebody, help them, you know. But you shouldn't be swayed or saying, or even at that time, oh, I'm not coming back to class no more. Well, who are you hurting? You know, when it was the truth being taught. Now I could see somebody over there, if you think you know and you don't know and you still waiting on something, no, that wouldn't be the place I would want to be. Or like the old man would say, then you need help. And if I got it straight and I'm able to be here to help you, then that's where I am. You know? But, and I mean, and then he had even said, there come a time when you won't be able to gather together. I mean, that's now. The man didn't lie. He told you everything that was going to unfold. You know? But the main thing is that you understand who you are. Now,
That's
if
right.
you can help, help. You know, but and I, you know, my heart goes out to them, different ones. But like I was saying to Rita, when it was like Gabriel said, when the class was full and overflowing, we lived and loved through a whole lot of garbage that went on.
My goodness, yes.
You know, we kept coming back, not for the garbage, but for the understanding. You know, that which Yahweh had for us. And once you get that, and you can stand alone and by yourself, then hey, that's what you do. But yeah, we're obligated to help one another, but and most of all, love one another. That was the law. But you have to understand what love is too. Sometimes that's walking away or holding back, you know.
Right, right.
Mhm. Yeah, yeah. You don't. Uh-uh. Are we there?
Yeah, it's the patience. Patience is the key when it comes to dealing with each other. And it's like, man, even if you slip up and you have a moment with somebody or whatnot, it's that ability to let it go and be like, you know what, I apologize for how I interacted with you, and you know, and that's really what those close to us. But that is key, you know, and That's where it's talking about, no wickedness. Not even talking about sin, but no wickedness. But you may slip up, you may stumble, but if you're in line, your heart will always seek to reconcile. Period. It's not something that you're gonna let go for very long. It's you don't want that state, like you were saying, Shirley. You don't want it to be where the last words you said to somebody was some mean and nasty thing.
Mm-hmm.
You want to leave that peace upon them.
You don't want to get caught with your hand in the matchbox when the house goes up. Right.
Yeah, you know it.
It's so easy. I refuse to let nastiness and condemnation and deceitfulness and hatred come into me. I just there's no room. Hey, I've seen enough. I've seen enough those that didn't do right, and to my opinion, or with their own opinions, but hey, just do the best that I can, and if I don't understand something, let it go and let Yahweh answer it. Right, He'll answer it. Right.
It's funny. I have all these conversations been having with people and everything, and there's moments where it feels like, gosh, these people are still just like arguing, won't stop, just seeming like you have to answer everything over and over. And when you're in a room, it's like you always got to keep in mind that other people are listening. And over the last week, I've noticed that the people aren't even saying it to me. They're talking to other Christians. Well, it's like me and a few other Christians and a whole group of room going over something. And I'll see in the side chat that all these atheists are like, Yahweh is king is the most consistent out of all of y'all. Yahweh is king has the most consistent doctrine out of all of y'all. And I'm still like, really? That means you're actually comparing what's being said. You're actually hearing it out. Have a conversation with a full-on atheist guy. We're going over certain things, and he goes, "Wait a minute. I have to remember who I'm talking to. I can't approach any angle in which I talk to a Christian with you. It's like you literally have an entirely different thing." And I said, I try to express this. It can't be lumped in of Christianity. It's nothing of that. Like one guy was so blown away by the fact that I am that I am isn't what's written. It's I will be what I will to be. And when he heard, he understood the inherent meaning that implies. Like that makes more sense. And it was just, it's when times seem, when at times it seems like it's a waste of time, the fruit of that labor shows forth.
Yep.
And Yahweh won't give you any mercy if you don't. If you say, "Well, I don't have patience for that," you got to find patience. That's your job. Patience is part of you. You got to find it, and you got to let them wallow in the mud until they get tired of hearing it and make some changes.
Mm-hmm. Well, I had one because I find it funny when I'll be saying something. There's certain things I will say to Christians that I will not say to like proposed atheists, because with Christians, they're claiming the Messiah. They're claiming to follow Yahweh. So there's certain points of order that I can call upon them. There's certain points of order you can call upon someone who already claims that Yahweh is. And there's some things that you can't point to order to someone who doesn't believe he is. Because to them it's no no better than anything else. But one, I was going over for a Christian girl last night, because she had just previously given a story about how her and her husband had stopped at this hotel in Arkansas or something. They didn't know it was a haunted hotel. They were just like driving through, and she stayed there. And she said she felt this negative feeling the whole time she was there, like something was watching her and all this, and how when she went to sleep that night, she couldn't really sleep, and she was kind of halfway awake, and how all of a sudden she felt like she heard some footsteps outside the door and heard them stop in front of the door, and she was like frozen, and she couldn't move. She couldn't move. She couldn't breathe. She couldn't speak, and it wasn't until she called. It's not until the name Jesus came out her mouth was she kind of free. And last night we were going over a conversation about the name, about how if you're going to follow the L, Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, when you come down and you find out that Yahweh, he gave his name as Yahweh, and that's the name he said was a memorial for all generations, it's not up to what you want to call him. And she goes, well, I had power the name of Jesus. I said, I know. I heard your testimony tonight. And I said, I have an answer for you in regards to that, because that ain't just going to wipe off what I'm saying. And she asked me to give her the answer for that. And I told her plainly, I said, look, because you don't have the truth of the doctrine of Yahweh, you don't actually know the truth of the doctrine. That's why something was able to have some power over you and cause you to be paralyzed. I said, yes, you were freed when you called on who you, in your heart, thought, even if you're mistaken, who you considered was the Messiah, and not just some arbitrary Messiah, but that the Messiah is the El of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, and he is the true El. And when I said, when those moments happen, that shows you to learn of him, and when you learn of him, you're going to find out that his name ain't Jesus. It never was. That his name's Yahweh. That name that you're even referring to is Joshua. Like, when you find this out, that to go back and call him Jesus or Lord God is like you calling your husband an ex-boyfriend's name, or your husband right now calling you an ex-girlfriend of his name. Like,
Exactly.
how would you feel if that was the case? If that happened, you'd feel betrayed. And so once Yahweh proves to you that he is the real El to call upon, even in your ignorance of his name, then you learn upon him like he said to do, and you'll come and find out that that's not his name. So you don't go back calling him that. But the atheist felt like I was being sleazy, like I was telling her, because I was telling her, when you have the truth, I'm sorry, ain't no demon going to have a power over you to paralyze you to where you're stuck. It ain't going to happen. They have no power over you from that point on. When you're in a state of not knowing, sure, you'd be susceptible to certain things. But when you walk in the absolute truth, it doesn't happen. It's impossible for them. You now stand in Yahweh. You stand in the Messiah. Like he's the one in you. They have no power over him. And the atheist felt I was being sleazy, as if I was saying that he had less belief than I did. And I was like, that is not what I'm saying. I said, right, I'll say it, there ain't nothing to me. I got no power. I was like, I ain't nothing. This man ain't nothing of his own. I said, it's Yahweh that has the power. I said, what I'm trying to say, because I told him, I said, what I'm saying, I won't be talking to atheists like this. I talk to people who claim to be believers about this. I said, this is something that you can actually see if your belief holds true. Are you still susceptible to demonic forces? Are you still susceptible to this or that? When you call on Yahweh, does he answer? Like, there are absolutes that Yahweh gave for what it means to be with him. It's like if you're married to somebody, there are things that are set by the husband that he's going to provide. There are things the wife is going to, it's not just like some willy-nilly, just free agency, everybody, I don't know, it's just really floppy-loppy the way things are thought of. And it's all that original sin idea the way they have it. But it's like they feel like, because I try to not tell them straight up, like, just so if you don't realize that your belief is paramount to believing in fairies, you just hope it's true. That's what I got on the Christians early this morning about. I was like, you're talking to these people, not as you're trying to help them, but like you're trying to convince yourself of something. And it's like, really? Yeah. But to hear all the background atheists, the people who aren't talking, the people who are just listening, pretty much like the audience, then saying, like, which doctrine that they see as consistent. Like, there are no flaws to that one. Now it just comes down to whether I agree with it or not. I can't pick holes in it. Like, one guy was bringing up why in John, Matthew, and Luke there are different accounts to what the Messiah was saying while he was on the cross. And how John records his last words, it is finished, and the other ones record different words. And the Christians are going all these different angles, and I said, just so you know, if you read it, it's for one, it's not stipulated that is specifically the only thing he said. I said in the other accounts, you have what he said is not even the last thing he said. It's at different points. And I said, in each person writing these autobiography is pointing out a specific factor. Like John is always considered the most spiritual of the autobiographies. Like John was pointing out who that was in the flesh. Like that was his main focus that he was pointing out, and the fulfillment of the law was like he was really focused on trying to pointing that out through the Messiah's life. And so that's why John specifically pointed out, it is finished. And I said, and let alone, John was the only disciple that was there anyways. Yeah, but it was like whatever they wrote about what was there, they heard it from John. John was the one who told them what had happened while he was there when that was happening. I was like, besides Paul received it by divine revelation at the same time. But because he's the one who dictated it to Luke. But yeah, there's these clear-cut answers that are really there for people to have, and they spend days at these Christians, and these Christians, the way they approach it, they leave the people feeling as if there's no real good answer. You just have to accept what they say or go to hell. And that's how they're left feeling. And so when you get in a conversation with them, it's like a PTSD barrier that you have to cross for them, because they preemptively, because we are professing Yahweh, they assume that we're professing the same stuff as the Christians, so they have like this PTSD of that engagement with Christians, that we get treated the same way at first. But our love and the patience that we're expressing enables that wall to break down to where these people are walking away like, I really got to think about what you said. I got to chew on that. I'll talk to you another... I don't want to take this any further because I really want to think about what you just said. Things like that. Like, what it's all about.
That's when you know that you've given them a good answer, when they're not asking another question right after one.
Mm-hmm. There was even Christians who were having the same question that the atheists were, but they weren't like trying to press on it. And even one Christian guy last night, he goes, wow, that's a great explanation. Like, I didn't think about that. That's actually right. And like one person had brought up, oh, there's contradictions in this, or there's different things they pointed out. Like one of them pointed out that the Messiah was in a scarlet cloth before his crucifixion, and one pointed out he was purple, and I was like, yeah, and he was naked, and the person was just bringing it up as like an example of mistakes that are acceptable, discrepancies that are acceptable. They're just from the perspective of a different person. And then one person tried to reconcile by being like, oh, well, scarlet's kind of purple. And I was like, no. I said, look, that veil that was between the most holy place and the holy place, The Messiah's death, burial, and resurrection, you read, when that veil was made rent, I said his body was that veil. I said that body was bloody. It was blue, purple, and scarlet when it was hung, and it was hung naked. That was the veil itself being put on the cross. And his death was symbolized that removing of that veil. Yeah, and one guy was like, "Oh my goodness," he goes, "I don't know where you got that, but that was great." He goes, "Is that in the Bible?" I was like, "It's not right. I can't put, it's there, but in them words, you." He was like, "I don't know, that was beautiful."
It's in your body, your
right.
veins and arteries, blue, purple, and scarlet.
Yeah. And it's funny because it's like the Christians, it was like, "What do you mean blue, purple, and scarlet? Where's that?" And I was like, "That's the color of the veil in the tabernacle." It's like, y'all don't even know what you espouse. And then yell at people. I mean, it really ticked me off, and I called out the whole room on it because the 3 Christians were started because this guy kept asking, because he was talking about free will, because the Christians profess free will, and he was contending that because Yahweh intervenes, there can't be free will. And I dipped in and I was like, well, it's because the Scripture Scripture does not substantiate man having free will. It does substantiate man having a choice. I said the only one that Scripture justifies or lays out has free will is Yahweh himself. He sets the end from the beginning. He does all things to his good. He's the only one of free agency. And he started like, wait, yeah, but free will did it to the Christian. And he was like, 'cause they get to the point where they're like, you're saying something completely different than these Christians. And then it's like, well, which one is right? And then it's really interesting. But the Christians started getting on it, started trying to claim that the reason he kept questioning was because his heart, he was a demon, and he sealed himself against the truth, and how he just wants to be on the side of wickedness and challenge the Bible and all this and all that. And I was like, whoa. This man ain't cussing you out. Y'all jumping over him. He can't get a sentence out. I said, this ain't what you're supposed to be. You're professing to know the truth, and you can't answer the man with humility in regards to the hope that you have in you? And they started trying to jump on me about like, oh no, you're supposed to rebuke somebody and this and that. And one other Christian jumped up and they was like, no, I actually agree with what Yahweh is King is saying. We shouldn't be acting like this. And why are y'all judging this man's heart and saying that he's doing it? Isn't his questioning showing that he wants to know? Like, really? But it's weird. It's weird how people try to condemn somebody, condemn them in that manner. It's like, didn't you look, preaching a doctrine of sin and death, weren't you a wretched sinner before you got brought into the gospel? Isn't that what you teach? So why are you not giving that wretched sinner the same mercy that was shown upon you? Why? If that's the doctrine you teach, it ain't even true. But if that's the doctrine you teach, why would you not be showing mercy on that wretched sinner the same way mercy was shed upon you, wretched sinner? Your own doctrine defeats you. And it ain't even true.
No. That's that arrogance of a man that want to be better than somebody else.
Yeah, there's no room for it.
Mm-hmm. But if we would just keep that number one rule, love one another.
Mm-hmm. Love one another.
That's what I told the atheist, because an atheist started talking up over one Christian, because the Christians will start dogpiling. They'll try to start dogpiling me. And then one atheist spoke up and he goes, no. He goes, I actually agree with what Yahweh is King is saying, and your own book says the same thing. And I had said, you know what, my guy? I said, I don't know why they choose to do this and whatnot. And then he started saying something. I had to take that back. I said, you know what? I have to correct myself. I do know why. And I said, it's the difference between preaching a doctrine of damnation and preaching a doctrine that everyone's Yahweh. I said, when you preach a doctrine of damnation, you can't help but look at everyone, including small children, as being something wretched. So you're going to assume that upon them. But when you preach and you teach that everyone's Yahweh, then how are you going to approach a man who doesn't know he's Yahweh, but you do? You know he's Yahweh. How are you going to treat him even if he doesn't know? Because that's how you treating Yahweh. You know, it's like that even goes down, you know, that goes to the whole treating people around you and not lashing your tongue at people. You know, it's like that's Yahweh. You know, and like that's the center where we say we are Yahweh by the grace of Yahweh. And that's where you never want to step out of bounds and try to and be in some position where where you may not have that on your heart, but when you look at it, the position you took was as if you're trying to be greater than Yahweh. Because when you lash out at someone in a certain manner, that's the position that you end up that you're taking, whether you recognize it or not in that moment. That is the position you're taking. You're taking a position of trying to be greater than Yahweh, and that's what that old dumb one did. You know, so it's like when you walk in harmony, knowing that the next man next to you, that's Yahweh too, and you walk in love with one another, you are fulfilling the law. Love Yahweh thy Elohim with all your heart, mind, and soul, and love your neighbor as yourself. You know, that is it right there, the whole thing. I, by the grace of Yahweh, am grateful that our Father shows us tender mercies to cause us to see that when we might step into a position like that, when we don't recognize it, to be able to step out of it and look back and see, I ain't stepping like that again, you know?
Right.
Yep.
Well, now unto him who is able to keep you from falling, to present you faultless before the presence of his glory, with exceeding delight, to the only wise Elohim, our Savior, Yahshua the Messiah, our Sovereign, belong glory and majesty, dominion and power, both now and forever. Let us all say, Hallelujah.
Hallelujah.
Thank you, Yahweh.
Thank you, Yahweh.
Yeah.
Hallelujah.
All right. Love you guys.
Love
Thanks
you.
for showing up. Oh,
Yes.
let's get warm.
Yeah.
Yep.
Take care.
Take care.
All right.
All right. Good night.
Good night.
Good night.